Hi, Rebbe. You're all set. There's only one other guy in the room so far. I'm about to put out a notification that the class is starting right now, but you're ready to go as soon as Rebbe wants. I have to mute myself out because I'm in the middle of some work stuff.
Okay.
Whenever Rebbe's ready to start. Rebbe can see how many people are on, right?
I know. I see Shia Jacobs. I don't see. I can see the names. I don't see the people.
Doesn't see the number of participants at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, that I can see, but I don't see the faces. I only see names.
So Rebbe could scroll to the side. If Rebbe scrolls to the side, you can see the other pictures also. Just like swipe.
When I press participants,
swipe towards the swipe to the left.
Yeah.
I'm blocking out Rebbe. Okay.
Whoa. Okay, fine. Gewaldig.
Okay,
How
I'm
you
gonna
doing?
go let everyone know.
Hashem, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, very, very good. Bli Ayin Hara. Whoa, nice to see you. No, you're working. What's the Corona business there in
Lakewood? It's like the day before Purim, where everybody was joking about it.
Yeah.
It's several hundreds of Purim Yidden's deaths, and now they're still joking about it. And it's back to normal in Lakewood.
Are people still getting sick, or it's getting better?
I have not heard. I mean, it's quickly spiking, and I know in the nursing home business in certain areas it's spiking. Every place is different. Brooklyn has different rules. I was in Muncie last night. I down in an outdoor minion. My school's running like it's in Lakewood is like it's running like it's nothing. But if I go a couple blocks down, they're still outdoors. Everybody's their own place sick.
Okay.
No, whatever.
Wow.
All good. How my son had I have two boys here from Eretz Yisrael here in America. Yeah. One had a baby in February and went back. He just got back and just got out of quarantine on Monday.
Really, very nice.
In Eretz Yisrael, and my other son is here. He had a baby 2 weeks ago. He's here, been here since Pesach.
Wow, very nice, beautiful.
Yeah, thank God.
Bli Ayin Hara. Very good.
I'm old and getting older. Older by the minute.
You're not as old as me, buddy.
That is true. That is true.
But Dr. Bortz, you like Dr. Bortz, right? Dr. Bortz told me once that if you're, I think he said 45, 50, and you get up in the morning and something doesn't hurt, that's not a good sign.
Well, then I've been in a good health then because something has hurt since I'm 32, so.
Seder, okay. Let me get started, okay?
I'm ready.
Let's see. Who's here? Hang on.
Nobody's here. It's just us, me and you.
Just me and you, really?
Yeah, it's like the first year I was in Israel I went when I was the only person at your Kuzari class.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Givaldi. So maybe you want to say something.
Well, I definitely don't want to talk about Prak. I definitely wouldn't speak up during the Prak Apps speech from the Mash, because if he's talking about Shalom Bayis or arguments, it shouldn't be me giving the share. Okay, I'll say something. I'll ask a question. You're officially on the Parsha, right?
Yeah. Good.
Okay, so I'm going to ask something on the Parsha.
I'm a fire.
What is this? Someone else just came in.
Who's that?
Hello, Rebbe.
Oh, Yaakov, how are you?
Good, Baruch Hashem.
It's good to see you. Baruch Hashem. Okay. See if we get a couple more guys popping in. It's Hashem. Very good. We had the Grand Siyum this week. Not this week. It was on Sunday. Yeah, this week.
I heard.
Baruch Hashem, we had a very, very nice Siyum. Yeah, it was good. We had Zoom. We did Zoom, so a bunch of the guys in the States were able to speak. But it was a pretty nice Siyum. We had about, I would say about 30-something guys spoke. And Baruch Hashem, guys did well.
Fantastic.
I know. Jim, do I see you as clearly as you see me? Do you see me as clearly as I see you?
I see you extremely clearly. You have a bigger beard since I was in yeshiva, but yeah.
Well, if you don't cut it, it grows. That's what happens.
That's Baruch Hashem.
That's what happens.
I first thought I was on line with Santa Claus, that he lost a lot of weight, but okay, Baruch Hashem.
Looked like Rabbi Feldman, huh?
No, you look like, I know. I was going to say you look more like Super Schnorr, but okay.
Rabbi Feldman told you used to go to, if he was ever in the States around December, little African-American kids used to come up to him and ask him, Are you Santa Claus? You know, you talking a big belly and he, Baruch Hashem. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, okay. Say it. I know. Okay, gentlemen, I'm gonna get started, okay?
Yeah.
Givaldi, let's go. Who's running the show? You, Yaakov?
No, I think Joey logged in, so I don't have access.
Okay, fine. So we're good to go. Let's go. This week's Parsha for you gentlemen, and this is the last week you guys are not going to be with us. You guys are reading Kairach. We're reading Chukas. But next week you guys are going to read Kairach and I think Kairach and Chukas, if I'm not mistaken. Or next week. No, you guys are going to read next week. No, you guys are going to next read Kairach, and the week after you read Chukas and Balak, and then we'll be caught up. It's a shame. Yeah. You'll read Chukas, I think. No, Chukas, yeah. I think we're going to read Chukas next week. Vayikach Kairach, it says. It says Kairach, Vayikach Kairach, he took. The problem, it says, the problem that he had is that he took. Vayikach. The Gemara says in Tainus. The famous Maisa with Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa was a very, very poor man, and he mamish had no food at all. And finally, his wife said to him, "Listen, it's crazy. You know, we mamish have nothing." So she asked him, "Can you daven and get us something?" So he davened to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu sent down a hand, and in that hand was a golden leg from a table. And it was worth a lot of money. And then that night, his wife had a dream, and she saw that when they went up to Ilma Emes, the world to come, they saw that everybody was eating, the tzaddikim were all eating by tables with 3 legs, and his table had only 2 legs. So his wife said to him, "Can you give it back?" So Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa davened to be able to give it back, the table back. And the Gemara then says that it was a greater nace that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the table back, the leg of the table back, than it was that he gave it in the first place. And the Gemara says a cloud. It says, Mishmayo, the heavens may have yoivi. They give. Mishka lo shokli, but they don't take. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is constantly giving, but he's not taking. So for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to take back something that he gave, that was the biggest nace. It was a bigger nace than if he had gotten it. There's a beautiful story, okay? It's a true story, fascinating story. It's a true story. There was a guy who lived in Bnei Brak. His name was Reb Avram Steiner. Now, this guy, Reb Avram Steiner, had a very, very difficult life. He was a very happy person, but he had a very difficult life. He went through the Holocaust. He was in Auschwitz. It was terrible. Now, I don't know if you gentlemen remember, but a couple years after the Second World War, the Germans wanted to, either they wanted to do tshuva a little bit, or they wanted to try to clean their guilt, and they decided that they're going to pay retribution, pitsuim, to all the Holocaust survivors that were alive. And they were going to give them money. And they were going to give them money according to the suffering, how much they had suffered because of the Nazi. So what they did was they had a psychologist, a doctor would call up the people and he would speak to them and they would go over their experiences a little bit, what had happened, and he would try to see as to how emotionally and psychologically hurt they were, how much suffering and pain they had, and the sum of money that they would get, that was decided according to how bad it was. So this guy, Reb Avram Steiner, he was obviously very, very, he was eligible to get this money. And the way they were going to do it, the doctors were going to call him up. So his friends all started coaching him and telling him, listen, when they call up, you got to act like your mom is crazy. Act like you're so depressed and tell them you're really terrible things. And this guy, Reb Avram Steiner, said, Chas v'sholom, he's not going to lie. He will never do that, Chas v'sholom. So his friends decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to call up as doctors. We're going to claim we're a doctor. And we're going to try to tell him it's okay. So the friends would call up this guy, Reb Avram Steiner, and they would tell him, listen, this is a doctor. What did you go through in the Holocaust? And he would tell them, he wouldn't lie at all. We would just tell him And then they would tell him, listen, you should make your story a little bit worse. Because if you make it a little bit worse, you get more money. And he would tell him, what do you guys are also crooks? Whatever I get is what I'm going to get, and I'm not going to do anything crooked. Finally, after a couple of his friends had called up and tried to convince him, claiming their doctors that it's okay, you can do it. Finally, the real doctor called him up, and the real doctor starts telling him, listen, you know, you were in the Holocaust, you know, can you tell me what's your situation? And he blows up, and he starts screaming at him. He says, you crank up, you guys are making me crazy. Stop it already. I don't want to hear from you going. Leave me alone. I don't want to make up stories. And he hangs up. The doctor was convinced that the guy was totally out of his mind. Obviously, the Holocaust had, he got the maximum amount that he could possibly get. What's the lesson from this? That if a person lets a Kadosh Baruch Hu gives, and let a Kadosh Baruch Hu give, and we don't have to take, we don't have to demand from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. If we're givers, there are two kinds of people in this world. They're givers and they're takers. And if we give, we will get more than if we take. They did a study, crazy study. There's a book, very interesting book. It's a Goyish book. I think I have it here. 1 second. Yeah. Yes. Here it is. Gentlemen, I don't know if you can see it. It's called Give and Take. It's about how people who give, the givers, ultimately get more than the people who are taking, because they will be more successful and they will gain more, they will make more money when they're givers and they want to help other people. In this book, they said they did a study where they got couples who were married or engaged, boyfriends, girlfriends, and they asked them, please, they said, think about your marriage or your most romantic relationship. He says, of the total effort that goes into the relationship, from making dinner, planning dates, to taking out the garbage, resolving conflicts, what percentage of the work do you feel that you handled? And it's in making your marriage work, or any relationship, it could be work, how much do you do and how much does your spouse do in percentages? They said in 75, it should come out, what should come out is, you know, the husband probably feels he puts in 20%, the wife feels she puts in 80%, and the sum total comes out 100%. That's what should be. But in 75% of the times, the sum didn't come out 100%. It came out like 180%, because the husband says, I do 90%. The wife thinks she does 90%. So you got a total of 180%, and that means that neither one of them is really worrying about the other. Each one is feeling that they're getting a raw deal. But if we would give instead of take, we would be much, much happier people. Rav Dessler tells a Maisa, a beautiful Maisa. He says when he was, I guess he was in exile during the Second World War. I think he went to England, and he must have been in like up north. I don't know if he was in Siberia for a little while, but he was somewhere up north. And he said that he saw in the snow, there was this pack of wolves, and it was a whole pack that were running together. And all of a sudden they found a carcass of a dead animal. And it was a small little dead animal. And each one tried to grab the carcass so that he would be able to eat it. And the wolves, the whole pack, attacked each other. Whoever got it, they attacked them in order so that the other wolf could get it. And then another wolf got it. And he says it was remarkable to watch. There's like a machlokes. These guys are fighting over this carcass, this dead animal. And they're all bleeding and dying. And so finally one of them had beaten all of them, had killed all of them. And this guy's dripping in blood, and he's got this tiny little thing. He says, when we try to take, when we're bali machlokes, he says, in the end, everybody loses from it. Chazal say, Hakino v'ataiva v'akovod motzim es ha'adam min ha'olam. Jealousy, it takes away a person's life. It takes him out of this world. It destroys him. There's an unbelievable story from the Mamish, a true Maisa, crazy Maisa. It says like this. Let me tell you the story. There's a big basic forest in Bnei Brak, but it was filling up. So they needed a new cemetery in the city of Bnei Brak. But there was no room in the city. The real estate there is very, very expensive. So there's a town very close to Bnei Brak called Ber Yaakov, and Bnei Brak, the city of Bnei Brak, bought land in this small town called Ber Yaakov in order to build a basic forest. And they built this basic forest, and now they were trying to open it up and to get people to start using this new basic forest in Ber Yaakov. And nobody wants to be the first guy buried there. You can be lonely, chas v'shalom. Nobody, it's a new basic forest. Everybody wanted to be in the old basic forest. They could not get anyone to agree to go to be the first person buried in this basic forest. One day, they get a phone call. This is a crazy story. One day, they get a phone call from somebody from America, and the guy from America says he needs a kever for a old woman. And the Chevra Kadisha, they start interrogating him. Who is this woman? Where did she come from? What's the whole story? So the guy says, listen, I'll tell you. This was a girl with the age of 17, a Jewish girl, and she had a very, very, very severe stroke. And after the stroke, she became a vegetable. And her parents tried to take care of her for as long as they could. But he said that after a while, they just couldn't do it anymore. It was just too difficult. And they gave her over to the only people who were willing to take care of her was I think a Catholic monastery. And they had no choice. And they gave over this girl. And they figured, how long is she going to live in this vegetative state? And when they got older, they appointed an apotropos over the person. And this girl who at 17 went into this coma. This girl lived till she was 90 years old. And already everybody was gone. The people that they appointed to take care of her were gone. Her parents were long gone. So where did they bury her? They buried her in this monastery, in the church, in the courtyard. And this Yid who called up the Chevra Kadisha, he somehow found out that this Jewish person was buried in the courtyard of a church. He thought it was a terrible thing. I guess he's Isaac in this. They have people going around, trying to take people out of Goyish cemeteries. There's a whole, Rabbi Feldman told me he has a cousin who does this in America, where they go around and they try to get a kever Yisrael for every Jew. So this guy said, we want to dig her body up. She died 5 years ago, and we want to send her body over to Eretz Yisrael and bury her in Eretz Yisrael. So we need a kever. So the Chevra Kadisha in Bnei Brak figured, you know what? This is Gabaldik. We'll bury this. She'll be the first one in this new cemetery in Ber Yaakov. So they said, fine, you know what? Send her over. We'll take care of her. We'll give her a kever here in Ber Yaakov. They went to the kever, and they dug her up, and they shipped the body over to Bnei Brak. Now, when the Chevra Kadisha opened up the coffin, when it got here, this is 5 years after she died, they were blown away. They couldn't believe it. This 90-year-old woman's body was in perfect condition, totally perfect condition, not decomposed at all. Her skin, everything was intact. They freaked out. They buried her right away in Ber Yaakov, in the cemetery, and they ran to Reb Chaim Kanievsky to tell him what is going on here. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky asked them, tell me about the person. Who was the person? So they said she was a young girl, 17 years old. She had a stroke, and she's till the age of 90, she's been a vegetable. She's just lying in bed, hooked up the pipes, and they kept her alive. Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, so what's your problem? He says, it's a Beferish Gemara. There's a Gemara in Shabbos, Taf Kuf Nun Beis Amud Beis. It speaks about Reb Nachman. Reb Nachman had a field in Eretz Yisrael, and he brought some workers to dig in his field and to do some work, to plow it. And as they're plowing, they start hearing some noises coming from the ground. And they don't know what's going on. They run back to Reb Nachman, and they tell Reb Nachman, listen, you better come, because this is crazy. Reb Nachman comes out, and he comes close to the kever, and he says, there was a nifter, someone who died. He says, who are you? And the voice comes from the ground. He says, my name is Achai Bar Yoshio, who was one of the early Amoroyim. Reb Nachman asked him, he says, are you alive? Or are you dead? So Reb Achai tells him, he says, the truth is I'm alive. He says, so why don't you get out of the kever? The Rav Achai tells him, look, I can't get out because I have to wait till Tchias HaMesim. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants me to wait till Tchias HaMesim when there's Tchias HaMesim, so then I'll come out. So Reb Nachman says to him, I don't understand, but you're in perfect shape. Your body didn't disintegrate, right? Your body didn't rot. You're in perfect shape. Why are you in perfect shape? So Reb Achai says to him, I don't understand. You don't know Ferish Pasuk in Mishlei? And he tells him the Pasuk in Mishlei. It says, Urakav atzomois kino. What makes the bones to be mitrakev, to decompose and to rot, is kino. And it's when we're jealous of other people, like Kairach. Kairach, what did he want? He took for himself. He was jealous that he didn't become the Nasi, that he didn't become the Nasi of Kaas. He should have gotten it. He had this geferliche kina, and this kina eats a person up. Reb Chaim said, it's a very shagora. What do you mean? You want to know why this old lady didn't decompose? Why her body is in perfect shape? Because when she died, she was 17 years old. She was a young person. And then for 73 years, she lived, and she had no kina whatsoever. She wasn't the kind of anybody. So why should her bones rot? There's no reason why her bones or her skin should rot. That's why she was in perfect shape. Gefährlich, it's nuts what kina can do. Rabbi say, it's mamish, whoa. I want to tell you something. Hang on 1 second, Rabbi say. Oh. I want to tell you something else. There's a unbelievable Ramban. The Ramban says, why did Kairach wait so long in order to fight with Moshe Rabbeinu? So he says a beautiful Ramban. The Ramban says the first Ramban in Parshas Kairach. The Ramban says that when the Hine Yisrael b'Yosem b'Midbar Sinai, when Bnei Yisrael were in the Midbar, lo yireh lahem shum ra. Things were always good, right? Things, yes, Avrami, if we work on our jealousy, so then Mitzvah Hashem, we won't rot. That's what Reb Chaim said. Reb Chaim said that's why the body didn't rot. That's what the Gemara says. Why did Kairach wait so long? The Ramban says when Bnei Yisrael were in the Midbar, everything was going good. Things happened, right? There was a cheta ego, right? But it wasn't, there were only 3,000 people who died, and Moshe Rabbeinu davened for them, and Baruch Hashem, everything worked out afterwards, right? Whatever happened up until the last Parsha now in Bamidbar, things were going good. Moshe Rabbeinu took them out, even when they did something wrong. Moshe Rabbeinu davened, Kodesh Baruch Hu forgave Klal Yisrael. They were chayta by the ego. Came back down. Moshe Rabbeinu, now all of a sudden by the Chetam Rav, there was the Nisoinim, there was Kibros HaTaivo, all kinds of things that now they were getting punished and they were getting into trouble. Kairach said that as long as everything's going good, Moshe Rabbeinu took Klal Yisrael out of Egypt and everything's going good and he splits the sea for them and the man comes down and everything is, everybody knew that Moshe Rabbeinu was fantastic. He was a great leader. He was leading us to Eretz Yisrael. Whenever they got into trouble, Moshe Rabbeinu got them out of trouble. But now things started getting hard. And when things started getting hard, Kairach said, this is an opportunity. Now I can go and now I can start complaining. Moshe Rabbeinu, you got us stuck here in the desert. We're not going in. You're not fair. And that's when Kairach attacked. That's when Kairach came and started complaining and started trying to get all of Klal Yisrael to go against Moshe Rabbeinu. Because he knew before that there was no chance he would ever be able to do it. Rabbi say, you see from this Ramban, an unbelievable lesson. We have to be very, very careful never to make decisions when things are going bad. That's what Kairach wanted them to do. Kairach wanted to get them schlepped into this terrible, terrible machlekes. Why? Because things were hard. And when things are hard and a person is down, if a person is depressed or a person had a bad day, that's not a time when you decide you just had a fight with your wife, chas v'shalom, right? That's not a time you just got angry. Something happened. You don't make decisions when you're upset. You don't make decisions when things are going really, really hard. You wait until things calm down. When things got, even by Nichum Avelin, it says when a person goes to console someone who lost someone, so you don't do it during the first 3 days because it's very, very hard then. Because the person is very, very upset. He won't be able to accept, he won't be able to receive the consolation that you're trying to console him. We don't make decisions when things are hard. When things are hard, Rabbeinu Tam says there's something called Yemei Ava and Yemei Sina, days of love and days of hate. And he says that the world, life, is about ups and downs, about things going easy and things going great and everything's going smooth. And all of a sudden, bam, we hit a situation. We hit a situation that's difficult and that's hard. And we have to hang on. Rabbeinu Tam from the Bali Taisus is writing this, that there's Yemei Sina when things are hard and you just gotta hold on. And that's what he says you have to do. He says, in those days, it's not a time for decisions. It's not a time to change your whole direction. It's a time to hold on until you get out of that depression or out of that difficult situation. And then you can, in a calm, normal way, you can sit back and you can make a real decision, a good decision. There's a beautiful Maisa, a Boisai, it was with the Beis Yisrael, the Ger Rebbe. The Beis Yisrael said there was a Chassid once, and he was a Chassid of the Sfas Emes, who was a holy Rebbe. And it was right around the Second World War, and he went to the Sfas Emes, and he used to get eitzes from him in his business. He's a wealthy man. It wasn't during the war, right? It was probably right after the war. And the Sfas Emes used to give him Gavaldig eitzes. He used to give him good advice, sound advice in business. When the Sfas Emes passed away, so he went to the next Ger Rebbe, the Imre Emes, to get advice from him in his financial things. So he went to the Imre Emes. He had a big business deal, and he said to the Rebbe that, give me an eitzah, what should I do? And the Imre Emes gave him an eitzah, what to do to go into this business deal. I think the Imre Emes said, yes, he should do it. And he did it. This was before the second, it was between the two wars. It was between the First World War and the Second World War, right? And the Imre Emes told this guy, go into the business deal, and the guy went into the business deal, and the guy lost his pants. He lost a fortune of money, right? So he said, the guy said, listen, this Rebbe, he's not my Rebbe, right? If the Rebbe can make mistakes like that, that guy ain't my Rebbe anymore. I don't need, the Rebbe is not my Rebbe, right? The guy never lost a tremendous amount of money. He moved from where he lived in Poland. He moved to Eretz Yisrael, right? He started a new business here. He had to start from scratch. He mamash had nothing because the Imre Emes gave him a bad eitzah, and he lost all his money there. Years later, the Beis Yisrael, right, met someone, and he told over this story, and he said that Rebbe is not a good Rebbe, right? He said, this guy said that, the Imre Emes is not a good Rebbe. He gave me a bad eitzah. Right? He gave him a bad eitzah. He lost all that money. But if he hadn't lost that money, he would still be in Europe. He would have stayed in Europe, and he would have been killed by the Nazis. So you think it was a bad eitzah from the Imre Emes. But in the end, the truth is, when you look at the big picture, that was the best eitzah this guy could have gotten, because he would have never left Europe. The only reason he left Europe was he was broke, and he got this opportunity to go to Eretz Yisrael, so he went to Eretz Yisrael. But if the Imre Emes had given him eitzah that would have saved his money, he would have lost his life. Rabbi said, Moshe Rabbeinu gave eitzes. Sometimes it was hard, right? Sometimes they struggled. They were in the desert for 40 years. But Moshe Rabbeinu gave good eitzes. We have to realize that even if it looks like things are not going so great, we don't know what the cheshbonis of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are. We got to not be jealous of other people. We got to get rid of the kina that our tzomas and our body should stay healthy. And not only does it rot a person's body, kina, jealousy in the world to come, it rots us up in this world. It hurts us. It kills us. It eats us up. The kina that we have for other people or other things. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us exactly what we need. And that is what Kairach didn't understand. Kairach didn't understand that if a Kadosh Baruch Hu makes someone else to nasi, You're not supposed to be the Nasi. And the best thing for you is not to be the Nasi. Hashem Rabbi Yisrael, we should be B'tech and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like it said in the beginning. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives and gives, he doesn't take back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu only gives to us. Rabbi Yisrael, Hashem, we should all be Zoiche to have an Ayin Toiva, not to be jealous, and we will be extremely happy in this world, and we will be hopefully healthy and happy in the world to come. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rabbi Shkoyach.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Rabbi.
thank
Have a
you.
good rest of the day.
Thank you all. Go ahead. We'll be in touch. It's Hashem next week.
Wait, so Rabbi, if I want to have a business, if I have business decisions, because I'm a travel agent and I don't know how this whole thing's going to work out,
Okay.
I should talk to a rabbi, you're saying?
I think you should definitely have someone you can ask Eitzah from. Yeah. I don't know. Business decisions, I don't know if the Rebbe, if it's something that you have personal bias about, so then it's always good to ask someone outside who doesn't have your, can look from the outside without, you're biased. I want to do this. I really, really want to do this. So you have to ask someone, is that really what's worthwhile for you to do? So that's always good. It says, Aselucha Rav, it's Aselucha Kanelucha Rav, Aselucha Chaver and Kanelucha Rav. No, okay. Aselucha Rav and Kanelucha Chaver. So you can have a good friend, right? Who can help you see, with a clear perspective that you're not, making a crazy mistake. But it's always good to speak to your Rebbe. Baruch Hashem, you have a good Rebbe, no? Yaakov, who do you speak to in the day?
I speak to Rabbi Schwab, but here in Lakewood, I speak to Rabbi Kassir from Edentown.
Good, very good, excellent.
Yeah.
You have you have someone who can make sure that you're being honest and straight with yourself. It's critical. Right. From the time I'm young, like I'm a wild guy, I said I have to ask my Rebbe before I do something.
Who's Rebbe's Rebbe?
Take care. We'll see you next week.
Rebbe.
Yeah?
I'm just curious. I just want to ask a question if you have time.
Go ahead, sure.
So Karach, he was before all this happened, he was considered like more like a big tzaddik, no?
100%.
What was his position? Like, he was like someone that people would go to ask questions, no? Or
You're
like
right. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that if someone else would ask him a question, something that didn't involve Korach personally, Korach could probably have given him a very good answer. But when it involves you personally, and you feel insulted or hurt because I didn't become the Nasi, so then you get crazy, right?
He was too emotionally. He was too emotional about this. He was too emotionally invested about this situation.
It's very hard for you to make a clear decision. So when Korach got emotionally involved, that's when he lost it.
Uh-huh.
If he had asked his Rebbe right away would have said, "What are you fighting about?" But Baruch Hashem, he was a chashuv guy. He was carrying the Aron. He was from the people who were carrying the Aron. Unbelievable! Such a schus, a gewaltige Zach. What do you need to be a Nasi for and have all this, hassles? You can carry the Aron and you can close to Kadosh Baruch Hu and you can learn. What do you need it for? And Korach said, "You know what? You're right." But Korach, he got upset, he got jealous, and his head started working crazy because you can't judge yourself. The Gemara says, "Ein chovush matir atzmo b'beis asurim." A man in prison cannot spring himself from the jail. You need someone from outside. And a lot of times we're in a prison to our Yetzaharas and our desires and our preconceived conceptions, and we need someone outside to look in and say, Avrami, that doesn't make any sense what you say, because you're so caught up in it that to you it does make sense. Korach made 100% sense, and he could have given another guy a fantastic answer for him, but for yourself you got to be careful. That's when you got to ask. Okay. Okay. Take care, brother. We'll see.
It's true. It's true that his sons they did tshuva at the last second, right?
Correct.
He could have done.
Correct.
Is it Parsha that if he would have done tshuva, he could have been saved too?
100%. I think that anyone can do tshuva if they're sincere, about doing the tshuva. See, but his
Right.
sons were less caught up in this machlekes, I guess, than him. So they were able to, pull themselves out.
Right.
Right? There was one of the Own, there was a fellow named Own, his wife grabbed him and dragged him in the house. And she told him, what are you getting involved in this? What are you involved in this fight for? You're not going to get anything. You mean, kairach maybe you'll get, but what are you fighting for? Get the heck in here, right? She dragged him in, and then her, and I think her daughter-in-law, they took off their shaitels, right? They uncovered their hair, and when people came, kairach's buddies came to the tent to get him, and they were like, you can't come in, our hair's uncovered. And he was hiding inside, and she saved her. She saved her husband. Oivid Pellis was his name. You got to get a good wife, my brother.
Rabbi Falk,
Yes. Oh, wow.
how are you? I've been listening the whole time. I just turned on the video. Rolling on to
Wow.
what Yaakov Fleischer said. So
Yeah.
sometimes, like you were saying, when a guy's down or in a rut or he's going through his hard time, you're saying he shouldn't make a drastic change. But sometimes that's exactly what you need, whether it's business, personal, anything.
No, I'm saying you can't. I'm not saying you shouldn't make a change, but what you shouldn't make a decision by yourself. And as when you're in a rut, that's a very dangerous time for you to rely on your own decision-making process, because you're not thinking straight. You're upset, you're angry, right. You can take all of the information and go and speak to someone who can help make sure that you're making a good, clear decision. But you shouldn't, jump or do things at that time. That's why Kairach was able to get all these guys, because they were down. It was hard. So he was able to suck them into this crazy plot against Moshe. This was Moshe baby. He took us out of Egypt. What, are you crazy? Yeah, but things are not going good. He doesn't really know what he's doing. Because they were right then in a difficult state. So they would buy this stuff that under normal circumstances they would have said you're crazy. Then Moshe, this guy speaks to God. You know what I mean? Because Baruch Hu, peh. He took us out of Egypt. He's got an unbelievable track record. Okay, so right now, for whatever reason, it's a little bit bumpy. But we're gonna go with you instead of him. This is crazy. But when they were down, he was able to convince them. Right?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Alex, it's good to see you, man. Where are you? Where are you driving?
I'm in LA. I'm about to go into a body shop. I'm parked outside.
Really? You're in LA? Whoa. What,
I've
are you
been
living in
here
LA? Yeah, you live in LA?
Yeah,
I
I've
didn't
been
know
here for a
that.
while, for a few years.
A few years already? Yeah. Wow.
I've been I was in San Diego for 4 years, and I've been in LA now for 4 years. It's 8 years total in the West Coast.
Where do you live in LA? Where?
Pico,
Very nice. Which street?
Reeves and Alcott. You're originally from LA, right?
My wife is, but I know LA a little bit. I hang out in LA a lot. Yeah. I got a California license, so. Yeah.
That's yeah. You
And
can
we have
actually
that story. You got
you-
pulled over from.
if you need to renew your license, now's a good
That's
time
right.
because there's a lot of leeway. You can do it online and everything.
No, right now I don't need, but I did. I renewed it not too long ago. Thank you. What's the
story
situation?
that you got pulled over?
I used to get pulled over all the time in Eretz Yisrael, and I whip out my California license, speak English, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. No, brother, I'm from Cali. So they would go, you don't have an Israeli license? I'm like, no, I don't. They take my license back. They go to the computer, they check, and he's like, be careful.
There's nothing for them to
Well,
check.
Right. No, because they think I really have an Israeli license, and I'm just pulling out a California license. But I don't have an Israeli license. So Baruch Hashem, what are they gonna do to me?
What's the
Yeah, and I got
situation
pulled
like?
What is that? What's the
Yeah,
what's the Corona situation?
The corona, so the cases are backed up according to the news. They opened up. I mean, the gyms are open, but it's a very liberal state. Everyone's very paranoid. They over-exaggerated. They politicized this whole thing, if you ask me. It became crazy. Some people are not taking it serious. Some people are. It's a mix. I mean, a lot of businesses are closed. A lot of businesses. The streets are empty. This is Pico, right? I'm parked right on Pico. The streets are pretty empty. Usually there's a ton of cars going through. It's just dead. You see?
Wow. Yeah.
During the day, you usually see 20, 30 cars. It's very, very dead. There's one car going by like a loner. This is what it's like. It's like an eerie feeling and things.
Lakewood is popping.
Popping
Lakewood.
It's crazy. Lakewood is nuts. A bunch of nuts there.
Which is crazy. We don't care.
People are still getting sick.
There hasn't been any cases in over a week.
Really? In Lakewood? Not one case?
Not
That's
one case I get updates pretty often about that, and
wow, fantastic.
Why? What's it in Telstone? What's the vibe like?
So right in Telstone, it was very, it was bad in the beginning. We had a bunch of cases. Some people came from France, and there was a porn party, 60 people, and it was not good. There were I think up to like 30 cases here. And then everybody took it really seriously. Everybody was, quarantined. Nobody was going out. No minyanim. We had them like on porches, and everything, calmed down. And now they opened up again, and now there were a couple cases. They didn't come from Intelstone. They came from people working in Yerushalayim, brought it back. But there's a couple of people now. So it's going back up in Israel. But hopefully
what do you think's going to be? What's going to happen?
I heard people claim that even those who are getting it now, it's less severe. They say it's mutated down a little bit, so it's not as bad.
All the weak ones already fell. People have already got it.
Everybody's dead. Who's gonna die is dead, huh?
I don't know. What is Hashem telling us with this whole Corona and the riots here? The riots have been crazy.
It's still crazy now? They're still rioting?
Now it quiet down, but there's still this, cops are scared. I was talking to this cop the other day. I saw him pull over someone. He pulled over a black guy, with a Mercedes, a little punk, and he had 3 bottles of liquor in the front seat. And the cop, literally a whole crowd started surrounding this cop. I was there.
Yeah.
They're all surrounding. It's in Beverly Hills, proper Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive.
Yeah.
And they're also, and because this guy was black, ended up being a crowd of maybe 40, 50 people yelling at the cop.
White? The crowd was white?
That's the funny thing. Most of the crowd was white.
Yeah.
So then the cop called for backup. They're all to arrest one idiot with booze. It was clear as day this guy was drunk. He was wasted. So they ended up bringing 10 cop cars. Then the crowd got even bigger. This happens to be while I was on a walk. Because why do you need 10 cop cars to arrest one guy? They forgot that 20 people showed up to hype up the situation. It was a whole disaster. It's just I saw it I felt bad for the cops. These guys are they're not making big money. They're just living a job. Our cops are idiots, but it's just not the way it's supposed to be, and it's not normal.
Crazy.
Yeah. So they have. I guess they scared the cops off. If that's what they try to do, it worked well, but it's not going to be good for an average person. That's
Tell me
sure.
something. Did he arrest that guy or not?
They arrested
Schwartz
him,
in the car with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you had these instigators, 6 people with cameras with their Facebook live feed, and they're all like, "I'm going to take your badge number." The cop knew he was doing his job. It's just not. It's not comfortable to be harassed like that. It's not, And then so usually they would arrest the guy. They ended up they ended up taking each bottle of liquor. I saw them doing it. They put it they had the forensics team coming to show that no one tampered or anything. It's very crazy. Usually it would be less simple. I don't know. It's also the unemployment. Unemployment's crazy here. People have too much time on their hands.
Oh.
And we're getting paid for it.
Well, that's going to be even more interesting. In a month, all the unemployment, I think, is getting cut back to half because of the corona stimulus or something.
Half.
Right.
They're giving me $600 extra. So I just $230 that they approved me for because I'm self-employed. Everybody's getting extra $600.
Just if you don't believe I'm in LA, here, this is proof.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Every corner. This is normal. This is every corner. Every corner.
Crazy.
This is in front of a $2-3 million house. Go figure. It's very, very sad. Right. So the unemployment's going to end. It's probably going to, I think people are going to get more crazy. They're just going to get more hyped up, Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but that's when the sports is starting. So they're going to start getting, they're going to have something to do.
Listen, who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Robert Q. Miller always used to say that that the sports was made for the people to keep them busy.
So they shouldn't, instead of wars. Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Let Germany play.
What's Hashem telling us from all this?
First of all, that he cut this out of the shuls, I guess he's telling us maybe we should pick up our game a little bit. And I think maybe we should be a little better, connect with each other, worry about each other, because he's disconnecting us. Crazy.
Yeah. Parsha has been hard for a lot of people. Not only Yaakov here, a lot of people have been.
The Maisi, you're a trainer. You work as a trainer, right, Sammy?
Yeah. I had a very good February, March were amazing months, probably my best months ever. And the end of March, April, May was very bad because I didn't think the market was going to go up. I was still short. I mean, unemployment's crazy here. The streets are empty. How is the market so high? It doesn't make sense. So I lost a lot of money.
So you shorted the market.
Yeah. It defies logic. Think about it. The unemployment hit the high, I think, was almost right under 30%. Now it's a little bit lower, but it's not really even lower necessarily because all this PPP. So it's very interesting. I don't know.
Oh. Crazy. It's a shame. You should be matzlich, man.
Amen.
Later. I'm going to run off to Ma'ariv. We'll see you guys next week, okay?
Take care, Rabbi. All the best.
Take care.